she informs me, even though the connection in this life will be broken, it will carry on to our next life, because apparently I've met him before in a past life and we've been entangled for some time. So at this point, I'm dumbfounded, because of course I don't want to die, and then I do still love him like deeply. I don't want to see him die. I don't want to see him hurt. Her telling me this had the opposite effect on me. Disclaimer, y'all are finna get so irritated with me. We leave out of the house. She does give me like certain instructions and things to do for protection. She said that's the only thing I can tell you to do is protect yourself at this point, or you can go to one of the other people that I recommend. Get in the car, and Big is like, so what's the next address? I said, next address for what? And he was like, Big, don't you want to go see if somebody else can help you? I said, I'm not finna do that. I'm not finna be riding around just going through all this. And then she just basically told me one of us is gonna die. I'm not interested in hearing anything else along those lines. Get in the car, riding back, I'm still getting text messages from him. But at this point in time, like, y'all, my stomach literally it feels like it's being ripped open on the inside. And my mouth starts like really, really watering. I tell him, quick, pull over. And he was like, what's wrong? So we pull over, and y'all, I spit out so much spit. Like, it looked like somebody had poured like a fourth of a bottle of water in my mouth, and I was just holding it, and I spit. So he was like, you nauseous? I was like, yeah, I'm real nauseous and my stomach is killing me. He was like, you probably just need to eat. We stopped by a restaurant, get something to eat. I normally don't eat fast food. Eat the food, y'all. Literally within seconds of it going down, it came back up. I'm not thinking of it because, like I said, I normally don't eat fast food. Just side note real quick. One time I went on a fast and I ate fast food. After I broke my fast, I got the same results. So I'm thinking you just probably, your body's not used to eating fast food. So, when you get home, you cook all that good stuff. So we riding home, and something came over me still. Like, I'm not feeling Biggie. Like, I'm kind of angry with him. I'm not trusting him. Just another note, Biggie nowhere in this story, y'all, is the villain. Like, if anybody's expecting Biggie to switch up, change, he did something, but it wasn't anything like crazy, nothing like malicious. It was honestly for his best interest to do what he did. We'll get to that later in the story. I'm just not trusting him. I'm not feeling him. In my head, I'm feeling like he's trying to take me away from Brown, even though I went willingly with him, and this is something that I wanted to do upon going on the trip. But coming back, I'm feeling sick. I'm not feeling him. Get a text from Brown again. And this time I read it. I was like shocked, because once again, he's in full stalker mode. He says, let me find out you in New Orleans too. Instantly, I told him, hey, pull over again. He was like, you finna get sick again? I was like, no, just pull over. He was like, I can't. We literally going across this long ass bridge. Going across the bridge, I'm feeling some type of way, because like my mind is going to a million different scenarios. Some are not even plausible, but I'm just feeling really paranoid going across this bridge, and this man knows exactly where I'm at. Have not responded to him. I left it on red. He's still texting. Get off the bridge. We find the exit. He pulls over, and I'm like, we need to check the car. At this point in time, it's like 6 or 7 at night. The sun's going down. It's not pitch black, but it's still dark. And I was like, hey, when you saw Brown the other day, did you leave first or did he leave first? He was like, he left first because once he didn't get the reaction he wanted, he kind of stormed up out of there. I said, he knows I'm in New Orleans. He was like, did you tell him anything? Do you have anything on you? I was like, no. Like, there's nothing that he could have done. He's been in my house, but he hasn't been in my house alone. Done anything. I was like, no, I feel like it's something on your car. So after checking for about 20 to 30 minutes, we go under the tire. And once again, it's the same device that was in my shoe. So I text Brown back. I was like, so you're still keeping tabs on me? He was like, no, I'm not keeping tabs on you. But I figured you and him would be fooling around again behind my back. Still going on with this story about me and Biggie fooling around with him, even though Big is a sweet guy, but Big is not my type in any type of way. True. He said, and I see y'all close by a hotel, so y'all must finna go do X, Y, and Z. You know, me being petty, I was like, yeah, we are. I'm finna chill here tonight, and I'll hit you back in the morning. He was like, bet. We then proceed to go back to my house. Biggie gone back home. Sends me like, hey, still gonna make it through this. Anything you need, just let me know, and you know, keep me posted if he pop up acting crazy. I was like, cool. Keep in mind, I'm still not feeling him, but he's out my face at this moment. I just want to lay in the house in the dark with my thoughts and my feelings. And also, I'm still not feeling good. Next morning comes, I wake up, I feel extremely weak. I throw up tiny black pebbles. Like, it's come to find out later on, it was bile. But at this point in time, I'm not knowing what it is. I'm thinking I'm throwing up blood, intestines, something. It's not a lot, but it's enough to scare you. And it has this weird taste in my mouth. Mouth still watering, throwing up. I have not eaten anything. I have no appetite at this point. This went on for a bit of time to where I didn't even have like bowel movements. Brown texts, he was like, so what you doing? I was like, just chilling at the hotel. He was like, no, you're not. At this point in time, I'm getting angry and I'm getting tight. But as I'm getting angrier, my stomach is hurting. Like I'm balled up in a knot on the floor, texting this man. I put the phone down. I go to the bathroom. I'm throwing up again. He then calls the phone. So I answer the phone. I'm telling him what's going on. He literally hears me throwing up. He hears that and was like, what you got going on? I was like, I don't know. I don't feel good. I said, I don't feel good. Can you take me to the hospital? This man says, call me back when you get that together, and hang us up in my face. From that point, I'm in pain, I'm throwing up, and now I'm crying because how could you be so cold? I call my friend who he didn't want me to be around because he assumed we were screwing to take me to the doctor. The doctor from that point tells me that, hey, you possibly may have cancer. All right, this is part 26 of a love spell going terribly wrong. From that point, I was sick for like months, y'all. Like my regular weight at the time was 185. I dropped down to 130 something. Lost my damn apartment because when I'm not working, I'm just depressed. I'm in a low state. Like I went and stayed with someone who I thought was a friend, which that's story time for another time. And then I eventually wound up staying with my cousin. Once I started staying with my cousin, like I did physically start feeling better, but I still was like not eating really. Like I would eat small fruit, maybe some soup, but like any solid food, I could not. And I still was not having bowel movements for a long time. Like I just was living off of air at this point. My cousin convinces me at some point to go see a doctor, get a second opinion, because she was like, we just gonna rebuke that in the name of Jesus. Like everybody in my family who I told, like, nah, this ain't finna be you, this whatever. So keep in mind, now I had been sick for about 3 months. I had heard nothing from Brown. Literally, I'm feeling like I'm on my deathbed. And any other time, it's something with you, but for once, I hear nothing. I go and actually go get a second opinion. And they do more invasive tests, x-rays, everything they see. They found out that I actually have a hole in my pancreas and my esophagus. Which, say no to vapes, people, because that's basically what was taking me out, even though I still vape to this day. But I had a hole in my pancreas and esophagus, so they prescribed me some medication. Boom. That, hey, you have a STD. It can be cured with a shot of penicillin, However, we don't have that to give you. You're going to have to go to the health department. Y'all, this is the part of the story that's the most embarrassing. And I can kind of laugh about it now, but this is the most embarrassing situation that I had ever been a part of. Okay, so the health department is way across town. I'm already embarrassed to go there because even though it's a big building, you have a dentist office in there, you have vital records where you can get a copy of your birth certificate, You can get so many different things done in this building, but the one particular section I'm going to, it can be Planned Parenthood in there, but one, me being gay, and then just knowing what's going on. Everybody in here, in my opinion, is here to get tested for. It's something STD related. I feel like just it's a stain on it. While I'm in there, I see a familiar face, and it's D. I'm going to sign in. I'm looking at him. He looking at me. This, that, and the third. At this point in time, I say it's about 6 or 7 people just scattered out in the seats. So it's plenty of room not to sit by him. So I sign in. I sit down. I'm waiting for my number to get called. D actually gets up and comes and sits beside me. He was like, I'm not on that type of time. I just want to have a conversation with you and ask you some stuff because I'm just confused and I wonder if you've been through some of the stuff that I've been through. I said, what's up? So he says to me, when was the last time that I had been involved with Brown? I said, me and Brown have not done anything. Keep in mind, I just went through what I went through and I feel like it's Brown, but once again, I can't prove anything. So I'm not just, I'm knowing that it's him, but I cannot prove that it's Brown. So I can't just, I don't want to come out and put that on Brown. Note that. So I was like, no, we ain't fooled around this and the third. He was like, so can I ask you a question? What are you here for? I was like, I'm lying. Okay, I'm just going to get my 6-month checkup, this, that, and the third, whatever. But I literally had not been having sex. Y'all, he says that he is there because of Brown, because Brown gave him the same thing that I have. Okay. Gets better. He says that Brown said he was with you when I had put him out. Y'all was riding around drinking. Y'all went back to your place and you were so drunk that you forced yourself on him. I said, hold up. I did what? He was like, yeah, and you gave him something, and then he turned around and gave it to me. I said, oh, before I could react, a dude that's around the way, because I said it's like 6, 7 people in here. So we're 2. There's 5 remaining people. One of the dudes said, hey, by any chance, are y'all talking about such and such? The such and such is Brown. I said, this cannot be life right now. We invite him over. All 3 of us start having conversations about different stories, different lies he has told on each and every last one of us, right? All of us have done the same paper ritual, not knowing what we were doing. I went ahead and filled them in on everything. They're flabbergasted, mouth on the floor. So, here's the next plot twist. The doctor calls a name. Is D's name. Is D's turn to go back. As D's going back there, someone's walking out. We'll call this person QB. Now, I had known QB from around the way. Me and QB had never really did anything. He was another person that had a crush on me. He didn't run away. He just wasn't kind of worth nothing. But QB's walking out. D's getting ready to get up and walk in. Instantly, QB swings on D. They're literally fighting in the health department. Can you guess why? All right, everybody. This is part 27 of a love spell gone wrong. They start fighting. There is one security officer there to break it up. Lets them know, hey, both of y'all have to vacate the premises. So D, whatever he had going on at that moment in time, it had to wait. So I go back there. I'm talking to the doctor. He was like, when's the last time that you had sexual intercourse? I was telling him it had been a minute. He was like, so why are you here today? I basically phrased it like, oh, a drunk night that I really don't remember. He was like, well, that still counts as such and such and such. Are you sure that everything is all right? I was like, yeah, it's fine. Like, I'm not trying to go through no police incident report, none of that type of stuff. So he asked about like a list of names of people. So I did mention Brown name to put like on the paper or whatever. He made a face. So after he made this face, I'm asking him like, why'd you make that face? And he was like he was at a loss for words. I was like, are other people here because of Brown? He was like, well, it's, confidentiality. He can't really say too much, but in so many words, he said, you're not alone. I said, okay, cool. This is crazy, because at this point in time, it could have been anything. It wasn't serious, thank God, but this is just crazy. So he was like advising me about PrEP and other stuff like that, contraceptives, blase, blase, gave me the treatment for it, told me to refrain from having sex for X amount of days. So I'm also speaking to the doctor because I literally had been asymptomatic for a long period of time. Like, he was like, that's how some people's bodies are. Like, they don't show any type of signs. I'm leaving the health department, walking out, and boom, there goes D. Me and D once again start having a conversation, and we're joined by the other dude a little bit later. We don't have a name for him. He's not really important to this story, because he honestly got his luggage and got the hell on. Me and D go out for drinks, sit down, have a long conversation, found out so many other different stories, like things that he had told me about D, far and few, was not true. Stuff he had told him about me, not true. He did mention how Biggie just hurt him and did him so bad. Like, he was obsessed with making Biggie look like the bad guy. Now, after drinks, I head back home. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling better. I do, honest to God, I do miss Brown, but I'm not reaching out to him. So until one day, Brown reaches out to me. And I don't know how the conversation went, but I cut it short with, like, it was a typical, like, because he's also a narcissist, typical nothing has happened type of situation. But I just was so hurt because I said, you couldn't even take me to the hospital. And the hanging up and like all of that. And I said, it's crazy that when I was damn near on my deathbed, I heard nothing from you. I said, you could stalk my TikTok, you could ask my friends about me, but not once did you hit my line. And he was like, he said something. I said, and I see what type of person you are. For whatever reason, that sent this man into a blind rage. And what type of person is that? What type of person is that? I said, a person who just literally don't give up. And then I said, do you know the doctor had told me at one point, I thought I had cancer, this, and third. Still no remorse, still no caring. I said, and also, I met nameless boy in the video who got the hell on, Dean, QB, all this, that, and the third. I said, so let me ask you something. That night we was together, I was drunk. Did you grape me? He was like, what are you talking about? When you remember something like that? I said, number one, I don't know what you did, but the dirt and the ashes and all that literally fell on my face. I remember that much. This man, y'all, starts busting out crying. I said, and I don't care nothing about your tears. Did you also tell somebody that I did something to you when that was very much so what you did to me? More crying, more hysterical, begging, pleading, all this other stuff. And I was like, so if you had any type of love for me, why would you do this? Like, I'm bombarding him while he's crying. The man hangs up. I still got the messages in my phone. I may post them, whatever. But y'all, when I say it was the longest crash out thread ever, like I sent paragraph upon paragraph, voice note after voice note, like I laid him out for a fifth. Like, not even the stuff I wanted to, not even stuff to get to the jugular, to really get at him, like soul crushing stuff how I wanted to say and still want to say to this day. But I laid him out for a fifth. At this point, that kind of concludes year 2 out of 4. Our anniversary is approaching. I'm sitting because I'm knowing that I'm finna hear from him. Like, it's almost 2 years since we've met, so it's anniversary time. I'm knowing that I'm finna hear from him. So when I did finally hear from him, once again, it was a tug at my heartstring. And it was manipulation. Like, y'all, this man basically called my phone crying on the anniversary day. I didn't know how low this man was gonna stoop. He calls my phone crying, saying that he had found his dad, but his dad at this point in time is dying of some type of cancer. Plot twist real quick. I'm not even finna keep y'all. He never found his dad. Dad is still doing well. Dad has no signs of any type of illness, but just spoiler. But I'm not knowing this. Cool. Not knowing this, I go see him to comfort him. I can't explain it, but I was drawn to him anyway. Like, it was signs that he had been watching me, but he wouldn't say anything. And I'm not going to go out my way and say anything either. But we're actively, it's like when I thought of him, I could feel him. And I kind of knew we were like it was a link. It was, I don't know it was a soul tie. We were tied, conjoined. Like, every single day that we weren't talking, I still thought of him every single day, almost every waking moment of the day. So, go over there to console him. The tears have stopped. Doesn't seem sad. Doesn't seem any of this. I'm thinking he's just putting on a brave face. We sitting there, we talking. I'm asking questions about how did he find his day. You know, just the typical rundown. How does this make you feel, this, that, third? Does not want to talk about any of it. He strictly wants to talk about us. Starts talking about sex. Just that type of situation. Do you still care for me? Why do you? Just the whole, it's more so about us. I say a good possibly 2 hours into the conversation, because I was there for a good little minute. Oh, there's a knock on the door. He says, just come, ushers me to the back or whatever. And he was like, yeah, that's the landlord. I'm behind on some stuff. I was like, he's got his own place. He's working 3 jobs. He's doing all the things that we had discussed in the past, whatever. I see. Me not knowing time has passed, I'm thinking that this is a change. He has his own place. He's working 3 jobs. Not knowing that he's mirroring the people that he's talking to and taking on their personalities. Some time passed. See him get on the phone, text this, that, and the third. He was like, so I'm finna go shower, this, that, and the third. Fun fact, me and him didn't have sex that often because his hygiene is just weird. Like, it's just weird. Like, his hygiene is just weird. Like, I'm not saying dirty like he doesn't bathe, but it's certain things that he does, like, while bathing that I wouldn't do, that I think is weird. So, while he's in there, I see his laptop is up. Text messages are going from him to the laptop or whatever. I see one text about, hey, I just came by your house. Knowing now it's not the landlord. It's whatever dude that you're talking to at the time. Something just compelled me to open the web browser. And at this moment, the lady that we met in Louisiana, words echo through my head, because she was like, if you get close enough to the devil, whatever, you'll learn his ways, this and the third. This is the devil. I'm close to him. Now I'm starting to put different stuff together. Y'all, he's on a web page for TikTok purposes. I don't know what I can say. I'm just gonna go and say he was on the dark web. However he accessed it, I do not know. And he's looking at crazy, not crazy stuff like anything dealing with like bodily harm or underage, any of stuff, but it's like chemicals, substances, different things. I didn't want to touch anything. I didn't even want to be seen in front of the laptop because I'm just paranoid that maybe they can hack, they can see in the house, this and the third. For the first time, me talking to him, this was the only time I literally felt afraid because, like I told y'all, my motor skills were not functioning. I didn't go into details of nothing that he was looking up, but I said, I'm just not believing that. Because I don't care what he said. I know that was the dirt. I know, I don't care. However, anything was cleaned up in the house. I know before I blacked out, it was dirt. But I said, why did I black out? Why days after was like my motor skills not working? Like it was some type of cognitive function I was delayed on. I said, I feel like he mixed the two and now I know. From this on your laptop, the health department, all this other stuff, you did this to me. Now, at this point, I do literally, like, I cannot explain to y'all what it feels like to want so badly to lay hands on a person. Like, I don't even have nails, but when I say I want to dig into his skin and pull out arteries and everything else, but I could never physically touch this man. Like, it, not out of fear, not out of just, not even out of respect. It was literally, I cannot envision physically me laying hands on him to harm him in any way. Like, it's almost like I want to protect him at all costs, even though you've done me dirtier than anybody in my life. He comes out of the bathroom, and I'm sitting there like, he could tell something was off, but he didn't know how off I was finna go. Because literally at this point of the story, yes, I love him. Yes, I'm hurt. I know everything that I've seen. But this is the part of the story where I started turning into a villain. And I wanted to get my lick back. If I couldn't physically do it, I knew I had to do something for him to feel me. All right, this is part 29 of A Love Spell Going Terribly Wrong. So he comes out the bathroom and he was like, "What's wrong?" I said, "Nothing. You good?" He was like, "Yeah, why would you say that?" I was like, "Well, your daddy not doing well. This the whole reason for me coming over here, right?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, man, I don't know why I'm tripping, why I'm so emotional. It ain't like the dude ever did nothing for me in my whole life." I was like, "True." So then he comes, sits down beside me, but then he notices the computer's up across the room. So he get up and he try and walk over there, I guess, to close it down or whatever. I said, "Hey, keep in mind, I had already minimized like it was previously, so he didn't see what I accessed. But his text messages are still going on the screen." So he tries to walk over there, go shut down. I said, "Hey, you ain't even got to bother. I know all about your landlord just coming by there." And he was like, "Yeah, it's this dude that want to talk to me, but I ain't feeling him like that." I was like, "Why is there always a dude that's feeling you, but you never feeling them? You always try and make it seem like everybody's in love and obsessed with you." He turns around and says, "Well, everybody is. Don't you think you are?" I said, "No, I'm not, but I'm going to show you." At this point, I can say, seeing everything that I saw, it was a crack in how I felt towards him. Like I still loved him, but I wasn't, like, we would be in love when we looked at each other. But then, like, if we're not looking at each other, it's like, I still have the love there, the connection still there, but it's very much so, it's a type of disdain for him. Like, it's a real live, I hate to use the word hate, but it's a slight hatred there for everything that he done put me through. It is literally like, you hate to love him and you love to hate him. Like, it's just everything. It was something just pulling me towards him. But anyway, so he asked me, do I still like him? I was like, why do you even have to ask that question? You're not trying to talk about what's actually, what I'm assuming, going on. You're more so focused on asking, how do I feel about us? And do I still like you, or do I still love you, whatever. But you're being a shitty person, like never taking accountability for nothing, goes out of his way to belittle me. Like, at one point, y'all, we were talking, and this dude told me, I will put his picture up. Like, he's attractive, don't get me wrong. I wasn't attracted to him initially in the beginning, but like, I grew to appreciate his features and stuff. But so he would always make comments like, "Oh, he's the Beyonce of the relationship and I'm the Jay-Z in terms of looks." I go home. So I'm at this point looking for jobs. And I'm still trying to multitask in my head. Like, I'm finna get this boy. I don't know how I'm gonna get him, but I gotta get him. Like, I'm gonna fight fire with fire. One night, I had a dream about him, turned to 2 nights, turned to 3 nights. Like, it became, and a lady said it, like, on a previous post, she was like, "You probably put an obsession sigil or something on your back," which made me think I was obsessing over him in good ways and bad ways, like, and vice versa. Like, we were obsessing over each other, but it's like, it was such a forced connection that I guess neither of us really wanted to be in. I wanted the original Brown, and he just wanted somebody to love him, but everybody who loved him, he treated literally like shit. Started dreaming about him every night until this one particular night. I went to bed really mad. Like, I had the worst freaking dream, and I promise you, I kid you not. I'm a very active person when I sleep. So I'm known for, like, I don't sleepwalk, but I'll talk to you. I'll move. I can pass you something. Like, I'm very in between worlds, so to speak. So, but Jamal was there, and I had a dream. In the dream, I head butted Jamal. Normally in your sleep, like, you can't hit or swing and stuff like that. I headbutted him in that dream. Like, it was so real that I actually had hit my head on the wall. I slightly wake up, but I'm laying on my stomach. I'm awake, but I'm asleep. I cannot move. They call it sleep paralysis or witch riding your back, whatever you want to call it. I'm asleep. I can see the entire room, and I can see myself like laying there on my stomach. But I also, it's weird. It's like I could see the room from two different angles. Even though I was laying on my stomach, I could see it as if I was laying on my back. Like, the door, it's always pitch black in my house when I'm going to bed. So the door to my hallway is open. I sleep, my door is open. I don't know about y'all. But so the door's open. Normally it's no light in the hallway. It's just dark. But at this point in time, I can kind of see, like, the room is lit up by this gray light. And from the upper angle of me looking at the room, this is going to sound so crazy, y'all, but just try and follow me. I'm seeing the room from two different angles. So the upper angle, I see, like, a shadow in the hallway. Like, it's not human. It's like some type of short elf, imp. I don't know what exactly it is. It's one of them short ones. But from the angle of me on the bed, I don't see anything. Occasionally, I start hearing little noises, this, that, and the third. I say my prayers. I say Jesus' name, God's name. I name everything to come up out of it. I did not wake up from that sleep paralysis until my body completely, I guess, went back to sleep in a dream state. And in that dream state was Brown. I could shake up out of that. I woke up. And from that point, I knew exactly what I had to do. I knew I didn't have the connections that he had, but I had something to my advantage that he didn't. And I plan to use. I'm finna do my own ritual, cast my own spell. I knew the three things that I wanted. One was protection. Two was revenge. And three was to recoup. So I knew the type of magic that I feel like would work best for me. So I engaged on some sex magic. I'm looking for three people. Not at the same time. That probably don't make it no better for some people, but I'm looking for three people to enact three different spells on. Cool. We listen, we don't judge. So the time frame in which I was going to do these people, whatever, Biggie so happens to randomly call. And I was like, this would be perfect. But in my heart of hearts, I was like, he's a nice guy. And he done been through enough. I'm not going to do that to him. And then in addition, like, I wasn't attracted to Biggie. Righteously Brown wasn't attracted to Biggie either. He was just looking for a come up, so to speak. And then he wound up falling in love for him. So I was like, I was finna do that, but I was like, I really don't want to hurt him because he is generally like a sweet person. But so, like I said, he randomly checks in and he telling me that Jamal got his sentence reduced and he's out on a split. And I was like, there we go with that thing again, because talk about privilege and power. He was like, yeah, it seems like he's changed. He talking about he ain't had no contact with Brown. I think you should go talk to him. Blase, blase, blase. I was like, don't think I'm gonna do that. He was like, no, just give it a serious consideration. I think he honestly wants to speak to you. Actually, I know he wants to speak to you because he spoke to me about being remorseful about certain things he did. He wants to apologize. Like, Biggie is campaigning for this man like he should be campaigning for himself. But he's always been like that. Okay, so from that point, I tell Biggie like, hey, I'm gonna talk to you later. I got some stuff to do. He was like, well, I just want to check in. Has everything been good? You know, blah 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 blah. Because I went past a part too fast. Biggie randomly hit me up, but he was on some trying to date, talk to me again type stuff, and I was just like, no. And I was finna use him for that, but I was like, he's a nice person. I'm not finna play with his heart and his emotions. I just can't do something like that because I personally think you have to be evil to really play with somebody's emotions and just like no. So boom. So the night I'm getting ready to go and collect my people for my experiment, we'll say. So I do my glamour magic, I do my beauty magic, and I put on my best stuff. But before I do that, like I said, this is 3 parts to this ritual. So I was gonna go out and find somebody. I already had somebody else in mind, and really not the third, but the first person was going to be myself. So boom, I already did the ritual on myself. I'm going out to find was going to be myself. So boom, I already did the ritual on myself. I'm going out to find number 2. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I love like glamour and beauty magic, like and attraction spells or like stuff like that. Like this, that's more my go-to. Or money, some stuff like that. I love. Like I'm not really into. Yeah, and I'll do protection. I'm not really into. I'll even do cleansing. I'm just not into like revenge, so to speak. Like so, this was kind of out of my character. I find the second person. The second person, or is this could be a separate story time. The second person, he was, I guess, down low, but it worked for what I needed. Everything on a, I guess, spiritual and whatever level, everything was checking out what I needed. So I actually broke up with him for drinking tap water, y'all. Like, that's a story for another time. But just for what I needed, cool. And then the other dude was somebody who I knew from around the way. When somebody asked who house I was, like in a previous part of the story, I said I was at a friend's house across town. That's who I was, whatever. So cool. Like not a friend, but like a friend. So we still friends to this day. But I was pleasantly surprised with the results. So one of them, we wind up, I guess, getting a little too serious for Brown's liking. Next, I want to do a return to sender spell. I did something kind of really, really, really petty that I don't know if I want to say it on camera, but I had something sent to his house and he did open it. So fast forwarding, I'm recouping myself. The dude who's for protection, we're gonna call him Jermaine. Jermaine, like people were already like slightly infatuated by me. It had something to do with looks, but then it was aura too, because like I said, it's glamour and beauty magic. They're not the same thing. So people were drawn to me. So then adding the sex magic to it, he was almost like a mind slave in a sense. And then once again, I heard the lady from Louisiana words like clear my ear. If you be around the devil enough, you will learn his ways. And I kind of looked in the mirror and I was like, dang, I don't even know who I'm becoming. Like, I kind of got a glimpse at what Brown was doing, but Brown had did it on a much larger scale. I didn't want like a legion of people, whatever, even though the difference between me and Brown when he did what he did, like not being funny, we're both doing wrong. So I'm not, removing myself from anything now. he's done more, knows more, this, that, and the third. He doesn't have the best results because, in a sense, I feel like he's a shitty person and he's ugly on the inside. Me, I feel like I'm probably pretty on the inside than the outside, but just people are drawn to me. So I feel like that, in a sense, has something to do with why his stuff kind of don't work or don't last long, or it kind of really, like, he's always catching hell. So time passes, everything is normal for, I say, at least 2-3 months. Me and Jermaine are talking steady. It's a normal relationship. He hasn't had any nightmares about anybody running him away. So I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe the lady was wrong, that the connection broke and that it's over. Everything's normal. I haven't even got any texts from this man. However, being realistic, that was me being gullible because it was still signs that he was watching me. Like, I would get a notification that his profile name on Facebook like and unlike something, like something. Then when I go there, the like is gone, and then it's like when you click on the notifications. So I'm guessing he liked then unlike, or he be in a Instagram story and we don't even follow each other on Instagram. He be just like people you may know. So I knew very much so he was watching, but I'm not the type to post like relationship stuff on Facebook. Even if I go out to eat somewhere, like, I'm going to post the location probably hours after I've already left that location. Like, you won't catch me at the location. I'm not posting currently where I'm at. One day we go to this little club down here. Like, it's like a little bar. So it's a Thursday night. Nobody's really in there. Cool. Brown walks in, but he's with QB. I was like, here we go. But they kind of cuddle, like they walk in like a couple. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but they walk in like they was together. Even me and Jermaine not walking in like that, but Brown and QB is walking in like they're a couple. Backstory real quick. D said that QB told him that him and Brown fooled around. Brown denies this to this day. Brown's a big liar. Unless you have ironclad evidence, he's not admitting to nothing. And even then, he's gonna lie to your face like you're stupid, but he's so real and so whatever. Cool. They walk in and instantly, typical gay stuff. It's messy. It's catty. Understand at this point, it's messy, it's catty, but I don't at any point feel like nobody's finna move nothing. I don't think nothing's finna pop off. I don't feel no type of way. But, however, Brown is really not saying, Brown is doing stuff, but he done simmered down. QB is still riled up doing subliminal stuff, all this blase. Jermaine is picking up on this because I'm not lying. Anytime I talk to anybody, I let them know everything I got going on, who this person is, this, that, and the third. Anybody new pop up, yeah, you should question it. I'm gonna give you the full rundown of just everybody you need to know. So you know the answers. Don't ask me no more. I didn't tell you the truth. So Jermaine is aware that QB is doing all this back and forth, this, that, and the third, and he starts to address him from across the way. I was like, please, like, let's not even do this, that, and the third. And they start going back and forth in the bar. They get really loud. I was like, I don't like this type of stuff. Now, we've been talking, but at the end of the day, I'm not in love with Jermaine. I'm still very much so madly. I'm still in love with Brown, thinking about him, see him. I'm kind of happy to see him, but I'm happy to see him there, but I also don't want to see him, and at the same time, I feel bad that he sees me with another dude because his feelings are hurt. I really don't like this dude, but the dude is now attached to me, and he kind of protects me in a way. Like, but honestly, it started to get to a point where it was overly obsessive. That'll have to be a whole separate story time by itself. That'll be a side quest. We'll do that at another time. But it just got really overly obsessive. I'm trying to pull him outside, like, let's go. He don't want to move. Like I said, I really don't like him like that now. So I done already been embarrassed enough in these past 2 years. I don't want any of this type of bad publicity, so to speak. So I'm finna get up and I just walk out and I leave him in there. Honestly. I did ride with him, so eventually he's gonna have to come outside or he's going to jail. I'm not finna be caught up in the middle of no bar fight. I don't care how bad that looks. I don't care. He eventually does come out, and QB and Brown are behind him. Him and QB going back and forth, they have words, and boom, Jermaine pops him because he's talking trash about me. He pops him, and he keep popping him. Like, this was a good ass whooping for him. Like, if you ever knew anybody who needed an ass whooping, this was a good one for him. Man, it was bad. It was really bad. And we got in the car and left. I went home, slept like a baby. I did not feel bad, not at all. A part of me wanted it to be Brown, but then also a part of me was like, if he fight Brown, you very much know if Brown cry or can't fight, you fit which Brown can't fight. Well, I ain't gonna say that. But you would have jumped in. So it was kind of like, your friend got popped. And whatever, cool. So from this point, Brown texting, that was so messed up, I'm going to get one of your friends. And I was like, all right, everybody. I'm happy to announce that this is the final part of a little spell going extremely wrong. If I get this candle don't want to light. Deja vu. I don't know if y'all believe in omens, but so this is part 31, series finale of a little spell going wrong. Real quick though, I want to tell y'all this. I know y'all gonna have some questions. Feel free to comment. I'm going to answer all questions. It's not a problem. I will do the side quest about when I did a little spell, or when I did sex magic on the dude Jermaine. I didn't want to tie that into this story because, child, this was a little longer than expected, but I appreciate y'all for sticking it out. And I have a million more story times, so hopefully when I hit that 10K, I can put them all up in a little list or whatever. Make sure y'all stay to the end. But he basically was talking about he gonna get my friend touched. At this point in the story, I say I may have a good 1.5 friends left because he's ran everybody away over the years from weird antics like inboxing them from fake pages and harassing them, saying certain crazy, degrading things towards them. Not stuff he personally got from me, but just stuff he said to them, things he said about them to me, or things he said to them directly. But the fake pages are saying the same things word for word. It's not him once again. So me and Jermaine chilling, talking one day, and I'm like, I need to get a job and start working. But so basically he gives me this particular type of job. I'm not going to go into details on it, but it's a large staff of people, once again, that works there. It's a warehouse, it's customer service. Maybe you can connect the dots, whatever, cool. It really doesn't matter. I started working there. I say I've been there probably a good 2 months. And 2 months later, in walks Brown. But not as a customer, he's walking in as an employee. So from this point, we're working at the same job. I could drag this part of the story out, but just for context, I'm just gonna hit y'all with bullet points. We worked at the same job for 8 months. Over them 8 months, you can basically say it was Nicki Minaj versus Cardi B up there. Everybody had to pick a side. If you was on my side, you was over here. You know, I was cool with everybody. It was kind of unspoken. Hey, we riding with him. And his friends, they were riding with him. It was probably what y'all guessed. It was typical workplace drama. Some people know about us, some people don't. And this is a warehouse job. Like, So many people could have gotten hurt, but it never escalated to that point. It's just a whole bunch of talking, chitter chatter, miss this and the third. Because aside from that one time Brown hit me, y'all, he's very much so fragile, femme, pussy, weak. Working at the job until at a certain point in time he gets fired. Boom. One less thing I have to worry about. He calls, he wants to have a night out like before. I indulge him because at this point it feels like second nature. Like it just, this is what we do. This is what this is it. I've come to accept the fact that you're stuck on this man when you've never been stuck on anybody before. He does not do anything for you. Every red flag you would tell somebody to run from, you would run from it. But you're very much so complacent. We go out, y'all, and I say at this point in time, we are going strong for a good 4 solid months. It's not no arguments. It's not no other people. It's none of that, y'all. It is the best 4 months that we've ever spent together. We good. So he comes over at my house one day. This is the crazy part. 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. We had just got through drinking, whatever. Like we still were not having sex. This is the crazy thing. Like we refrained from having sex for so long. Last time that we probably actually had sex, y'all, this is what I'm saying. This was not the sex was good. I was tired of him. No, the last time we actually had sex was the anniversary when he left me stranded. Like, that was the last time we had sex. There was the other situation, but we're not counting that as consensual. But once again, we don't know it was him. Moving on. He comes over. We upstairs talking, chilling, all this stuff for a good minute. He was like, I'm going to call you when I get home. I was like, okay, cool. Y'all, it's 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm drunk. My house is pitch black and cold. Granted, he's been doing better, but I'm really not expecting him to call because normally that's something I have to initiate. It's taking him a rather long time to get to his house. I eventually go to sleep. I wake up the next day. It's a bunch of angry text messages and it's pictures. Apparently, his tire went flat. He had to go to the gas station. His tire, he wanted to make it seem like, okay, so y'all, the tire was not slashed. The tire was like, y'all know them little things like where you can slowly let the air out. So he was like, one of your just must have came by your place, seen my car there, and let the air out of my tire. It went flat. Luckily, I went to the gas station, pumped the air back in, I made it home. But when I called you, you must have been... He came up with this whole elaborate thing about me fooling around on him and whoever the person was flat his tire. Cool. Also in the messages, he starts going off and he sent me something. It was weird, but I knew midway reading it, this is something that you don't read even in your subconscious mind. He's back to playing the same games. Curses me out. I'll never be this. Music ain't gonna take off for you. You're not gonna blase. Like everything that I cared about, which it isn't a lot of things at this point because you kind of know the situation set up between me and certain people in my life. I done lost all of my friends because of you. You know, the only thing I do care about is my music. Completely trash is dead. Like even the TikTok, the Instagram, like just all the social media Kodak and stuff that's just behind the scenes that whatever, cool. We're supposed to be building some things together, but it never came to fruition because of this situation here. So I'm sad by like some of the stuff he's saying, like it genuinely does hurt. But I'm still thinking, hey, the next time I'm finna go to the studio, we finna turn up this, that, and the third. No exaggeration, y'all. The next day I was supposed to go to the studio. Voice gone. I had lost my voice like before going to the studio, but it was just weird this time because like the weather wasn't cold. It was just weird, off putting. So when I couldn't record at the studio, I still had this location. So I was like, let me just pop up where he is. So I go to where he's at, and I see him hugged up with a familiar face. It's not Jamal. It's not QB. It's the original Browns boyfriend that had got out of prison. And I was like, this is so... It's full circle. It is full circle. So yeah, we'll call the dude Fed. Fed and Brown 2.0 are now a thing. Fed moved on from Brown and went to Brown 2.0. I went home that day. I was sad. Yeah, so that is the ending of A Love Spell Going Wrong and how my album Pheromone came to be. So y'all make sure y'all go check out my album Pheromone. It's about the 5 stages of a breakup. We in stage 1, which is denial. It's gonna be 4 more parts. Dropping on QB's birthday, Jamal's birthday, Brown's birthday, and Fed's birthday. This is my story on A Love Spell Going Wrong, and I thank y'all so much for tuning in. And y'all can cue the questions. Anything y'all want to know, go ahead and ask. I'm going to tell you.